Did you know that the internet has got a sort of preoccupation with the colour of the socks that people wear? There is a big myth going around on the internet regarding stinky black socks in particular. People thinking that wearing dark coloured socks impacts the smell that you get from your feet. So let's discuss this in a little bit of detail. Now, I'll tell you now that it isn't the colour of your socks that's causing the problem. There are a couple of issues that may be behind it. One is hyperhidrosis, which I'll go into in a bit. Poor foot hygiene, sorry to tell you this, you're not cleaning your feet properly. The weather, the material of the socks that you're wearing, the thickness of those socks, and your choice of footwear. So while it isn't a simple equation of one thing that's causing the problem, if you have a couple of these things working at the same time and you happen to be wearing black socks, you're going to find that your feet stink. So what can we do about it? A lot of people think that black socks are capable of holding more heat due to their colour, and that is true in a sense, but the impact is really, really minimal. You can absorb warmth from your body or from the sun when you're wearing these socks, but as most of your socks are hidden because they're inside your shoes and you may be wearing trousers with them, most of the socks aren't even getting that sunlight that would cause that warmth. The real problem is likely to be your smelly feet, synthetic socks, the material of your shoes, and so on, as I mentioned earlier. So the first thing that you need to think about is what kind of socks might make your feet stink. And you're going to find that choosing the right material for your socks is really important. You need to buy moisture wicking socks, okay? They're the key, and I'll put a link down below to some kind of socks that you can get that have this moisture wicking properties that wick away sweat. Some materials, such as cotton socks, aren't so good. They make your feet stink. So even though cotton is a natural material, and they aren't so great at letting moisture escape from your feet, so that causes the moisture to build up. But some synthetic socks, which you would think wouldn't do the job, are actually quite good because they're designed to get away this moisture from your feet to stop the smells. Bamboo socks, they also work, and things like natural wool socks. So if you can buy some of those, that is the start of solving your problem. As well as wearing the right socks, I also want you to be really careful with your foot hygiene because you need to be washing your feet at least a couple of times a day to get rid of any of that sort of bacterial growth or any of the smells and sweat buildup that you might be having that's causing those issues. I would add things like tea tree oil foot soaks to the water of my foot bath just to neutralize those smells further. I'd put odor eaters in my shoes. Okay, so that's another thing you can do. Even better, bring a change of socks with you that you can change into halfway through the day so that that sweat doesn't build up. Start doing those things and you won't get those smelly feet. Often it's black socks that are taking the blame for other conditions. And one of those conditions is called hyperhidrosis, which I briefly mentioned earlier. And that's excessively sweaty feet. When your sweat glands are overproducing moisture, it can be difficult for any socks to cope, and your skin is continually moist as it produces more and more of that sweat. And this is where I talk about my secret weapon, which is Carpe antiperspirant foot lotion that I'll put a link to below, which has been specially formulated to reduce sweaty feet. All you need is a pea-sized amount, put it on your feet in the morning and the evening, and it stops those sweaty feet. Brilliant stuff, well worth considering if you've got those pongs. I know that socks often get the blame for these issues with your smelly feet, but actually it's often the shoes that are the biggest problem. You need to look for breathable shoes. Breathable shoes allow the moisture to escape from the inside of your shoe and it keeps your feet cool inside and stops that sweat buildup. Now, leather is breathable, but there are more breathable shoes that are out there. You can find mesh shoes, for example. I know that Nike do some that are comfortable and lightweight and help to let that sweat out. And there are plenty of other manufacturers other than Nike that do them. Have a look online when you're buying your next pair of shoes and find ones that are ultra breathable, and that will also help with any smells. Whilst black socks have had a bit of a bad rap because they make very little difference to the smell that your feet emanate, you might want to consider the type of colour socks you wear depending on what you're using them for. So, for example, you might want black socks because they're more suitable for work or a formal setting. It's going to look really odd if you turn up to work in a smart suit and then you're going to see these white socks peeping out from under your trousers. So you know that black, dark grey or navy socks are going to be much more acceptable in those kind of environments. But of course that changes completely in less formal settings. So it's common to see people wearing white socks with sneakers, for example. They're more associated with sports. So remember, the colour of your socks is not going to make your feet stink. However, white socks will show up any dirt incredibly fast. So if you want to wear white socks, you're going to find yourself doing a lot more laundry and probably throwing them away a lot faster. They're also less likely to last as long as coloured socks because after a number of washes, it can get difficult to get them back to that sparkly white colour again. Finally, a lot of people ask, are black socks bad for you? Now, over a century ago, the dyes in black and coloured socks contained poisonous chemicals, and these were detrimental to people's health. In fact, some sock dyes contained arsenic, which of course can kill you. But technology and manufacturing have moved on a long way in the past few years, so you can feel much more comfortable wearing the products that are made now, no matter what the colour they are. So get rid of those myths surrounding black socks, wear them where you need to in the right setting, and wear your lighter colour socks at other times. For more shoe info, footwear fixes, reviews, and handy tips to help with your foot health, head on over to sheepeddy.com to get more info.